Greetings! So hey, grab your Estus and hold on to your humanity, because we're about to go hollow. And as you can see, poor old Flynn has already done just that after last episode's encounter with the Chief Lightning +5 hand axe. But there was a bit of a muck-up on my part. The frames per second and the recording options were quite poorly, so I didn't quite capture my conversation with this guy here, and a very iconic character.
We are amidst strange beings in a strange land. The flow of time itself is convoluted, with heroes centuries old phasing in and out. The very fabric wavers, and relations shift and obscure. There's no telling how much longer your world and mine will remain in contact. But use this to summon one another as spirits, cross the gaps between the worlds, and engage in jolly cooperation. Of course, we are not the only ones engaged in this, but I am a warrior of the sun. Spot my summon signature easily by its brilliant aura. If you miss it, you must be blind.
So basically, this guy is Solera Pastora, and fans of the game already know him, and if you choose to listen to his ramblings for a while, he gives you a white sign soapstone. And indeed, it lets you leave a sign on, well, basically roughly any area of the game where you can choose, well, human players, as in if they're not hollowed like I am, can choose to summon you and cooperate. And this is a fairly dangerous spot. Whoop, you can hear that in the distance. It's the dragon we saw earlier. And he's blocking the way where we need to go. And I misspoke on the last episode about the basic lore of the game. Strangely enough, I chose to skip the tutorial because I was testing out recording settings and such. But you're locked away in the asylum, and you basically, this helpful knight chooses to drop a corpse to your cell containing the key for it. And well, as you go to meet him up afterwards, he's quite poorly himself and dying, in fact. And here's a nice shortcut for the first bonfire, where I will be resting just to distribute some of those souls that we've accumulated. And he tells you of this prophecy where you have to ring 2 bells of awakening to figure out the fate of the undead, which is what you're going to be doing, because it's basically the only direction the game offers you. Let's go for an even-steven distribution of these things. I want a few points. Actually, let's just pump this to 12 too. Some points in strength is very useful early on, because it allows you to, well, start wielding a variety of weapons. You can see the requirements down here. And the bicep, of course, indicates strength. The hand is dexterity, which is skill. The wand is intelligent, and the star is faith. And I'll be trying to use the S-Stock for a while. And off we go to search for those bells. And in Firelink Shrine, the hub area, I did forget to talk about one of the NPCs there, and he's all about those bells. Tells you where to find them. Now there's 2 routes forward. By the way, oh, let me just move the cursor. Sorry about that. Don't shoot at the tail. It's not worth it. It's a scrub weapon. You can choose to progress either by going this way, which is pretty much the intended route, or you can go up here and, oh, well, yeah. You can goof around with the dragon and perhaps lure him down, so you can run past him to this area with, if you can look closer, there's a bonfire in there. Now, way to get him to come to you is to throw a knife at him. If you aim it upwards high enough, oh, well, looks like he's coming down out of his own volition. Oh, good. Basically, as we go in here, he should eventually give up and move along. And as you saw, we're now in the Undead Parish. And one of those bells is located in a bell tower, of course. Where to find one? In a church? A parish? Indeed. and if you come back here to loot the corpses, you'll find a fairly useful weapon in here. A claymore, a very versatile two-handed weapon. Oh, it looks like we're actually slowing down due to the weight of our equipment. So I think I'll start small, like remove gloves to see if it helps you, and it does. So yeah, that's something. My frames seem to be okay, so let's try parrying. Okay. And there's the frames going into the toilet. Yeah, the S-Stock can be a difficult weapon to use at the start since, well, it's just hardly noticeable the damage it does. And up here we'll find a quote-unquote friend. You can hear him coming for us. A Black Knight. Another one of them. And again, these ones hit super hard, so I think he's able to actually kill us in one hit at this point. But if you can manage to tackle them, you get nice rewards. And of course a chance for a weapon. Or a shield. It's all about timing really. And they should drop the chunk as well. Indeed, and we got both of their weapons now. The chunks and shards and what have you that we have picked up a fair amount there, of course, as it says, reinforcing standard weapons. But for now, let's make our way towards the parish. A whole heap of enemies. You can lure them towards us. As you can see, the spear hollow is coming. Oh, it's a longsword one. A good indication in the game too, as to whether you can beat an enemy is, well, if you can take them alone, you can, well, you're pretty much equipped to deal with them. Alright, I forgot, you do not have the access to the kicking move when you're wielding a thrusting sword like the S-Stock or the rapier. Instead, the kick, which is useful for breaking enemies' guards, is replaced by this fancy move. With little to no use, I'll admit. And one of the hollows that saw us just ran past and closed the gate. Oh, and I'm dead. And there he goes, clugging his Estus. Well, it happens. Think I'll actually stick with the axe for a while. And of course, the game, instead of like checkpoints and such, it gives you access to shortcuts and yeah, and the like. Elevators, ladders, just many different ways to just traverse the level a bit more quickly. Let's take the other route now instead of going up the bridge where the dragon was. And as you can hear, the dragon is back. Oh, still can't parry them. There we go. As I joked about before, if you actually shoot the dragon's tail enough times, it clips off and you get a weapon for it. A crutch weapon, if you will. Not really useful to sticking with. And here you have this really dubious fight with the spear hollow. I'm rather liking the hand axe here. Never bothered using it a lot when I was playing the game during my original binges. Rats are of course a bit dangerous, but you can lure them down. You see the meter down there, they're actually stacking a debuff on us in the form of poison. We'll just top our health off and such. And there should be... yeah, there he is. Attack a bit too quickly for me to use my lunging attack. Or jump attack rather. As I said, I'm a bit rusty, but I really do appreciate how the game is fair in its difficulty. I mean, a lot of people fuss about the alleged hardness of these games, and I just think it's widely overblown. It's a meme on its own right by now, and I don't really appreciate it. And the sword hollow should be coming for us right about now, because I'm too slow at killing these fools. And there the gate remains closed, and you might want to be careful around that boar. He does not mess around. Of course, as we started with the Pyromancer, we have access to a bit of a magical stat. Oh. And there we go, we retrieved our remains. And I think I did see a hollow coming up to us. And as you can see, the boar is actually onto us now. So you can use these items you just found, alluring skulls. And indeed, souls are a concentration of life, and the life-starved hollows are allured by its power. Not effective for all enemies. But, yeah, as it suggests, hollowed enemies might be allured to them. And there's a funny trick you can do with it. You can lure the boar with it and then unleash a jumping attack on him. Oh, I better run. Didn't kill him with one shot. He's a hardy foe. Oh, it's rearing up for a charge. Awards you with a bit of souls, as all enemies do, and has even a chance to drop a fancy boar helmet. And now, as you can see, this area is fairly clear, so it's time to explore. Whatever's happened here is fairly grim. Wait. Is that actually a chopped up corpse? It is. And someone's being impaled here. And there's the culprit. Lock the door before us. And this will be our way towards him. Completely hollowed out people here. It's always the jumping attack. Yeah, and I'm gonna need to invest into upgrading a weapon soonish, but we're not yet at that point of the game where we can even have that as an option. I do like this phase of the game. I always end up dubbing it as the hobo phase in any game, where you're just basically making do with what you got. Of course, attack them while they're swinging for a bit of counter damage. And here we find a mystery key. It appears to be a basic prison cell key, so we'll have to keep our eyes open for those. Hold on, actually I need to check my timing. We're well underway. I think I'll be doing a bit of a binge recording and then later on editing. Oh. I am doing quite poorly, aren't I? Indeed. Thank goodness I picked up the heater shield. I am making a fool out of myself. As said, yeah. Come on. There we go. And here's a player left a message. I did it! Me too, friend. Oh, goodness me. We'll just take a sip. And now we're out. This room is taking way too much time for me to clean, isn't it? Okay, so, yeah. Do I have the stats to equip any of these? No. I can use the Claymore, however, but it is so heavy that it reduces us to rolling rather slowly. So removing a helmet will do us a favor and let us keep ourselves mobile. And that's the emphasis that I'll be going for. I want to ensure that I'm mobile. And here we have a whole different type of an enemy. A knight of some degree. And of course they poke behind their shield. And now he's healing. Here you have a shield and it gives you a view of the area. You can, yeah, indeed engage on range on this guy. Like throwing a knife at him. Or shooting him with a bow or something. We're out of healing, so I should be playing a bit carefully here. I did aggro that guy down there, so that'll be nice. There he is, hobbling his way towards us. And another spear hollow here. Strong attacks are quite handy in taking them down. And there we go. A player might have left us, indeed, a helpful message in here. Basically, if you have a weapon good enough to stagger them that isn't like a knife or something, then you're good enough to tackle them. And it's time to get revenge on this guy who locked the door for us. And again, as I mentioned about the shortcuts, this is basically a way to open another one of them. If we happen to die here and would have to restart from the shortcut bonfire or the one in the area below the Drake, then we can just run past this gate instead of taking the way down like we just did. A sip of the old coffee there. And here we find a basement key. Opens the door leading to Lower Undead Burg. Far face of the Great Bridge in the Undead Burg. So that'll be another destination for us to explore. Thieves and wild dogs who serve the Capra demon. Here you find a fairly powerful newbie weapon. Actually, if I have the stats for it, I might be using it for a moment. When I was starting out in the game, I played a lot with the halberd. I just found it so useful. The trick with these weapons is they're powerful and they outrange many enemies. As you saw, I was able to land 2 hits on him fairly quickly. But if you miss with the weapon, you tend to stagger a bit. It's a neat enough balance. If you take your time and observe your surroundings before going into fight, then you can pretty much always map the situation before you have to do it. And then you can just poke them to death. And the trick is to wait for them to heal if they want to go for that, and then slay them. And he has an item with him, Baldur Gauntlets, which lets us figure out some of their origins. Knights of the ancient kingdom of Baldur. They're made from thick iron blades. Baldur was the homeland of the Night King Rendel, but it came to ruin after a great many undead were spawned. Perhaps these knights were after the battles of Awakening and to learn about the fate of the undead. Just do a bit of pokey wars with them. And in the distance, yeah, you see a dangerous enemy. We'll be tackling him soon, and this player message should give us a nice little hint. Nope. I was hoping it'd tip us off to that caster upstairs. And that is why we'll be taking a different route. The way we came. This is where we tackled the knight, and it actually takes us to the side of this church. And there you have our destination, a bell tower, and some graphical glitches. It's not just B-Team who fucks up. Now we want to be extra careful when tackling these guys, because there's a crossbowman in the background, and we're fairly low on health. Just cure them before they get to you. Backstabbing is an easy way to take care of just about any enemy in the game. Now, in order not to risk some dying, I'll just show you quickly. That's the route where the dangerous looking enemy hides. There he is. They're actually not that tough, but I do want to unlock this area first. Nice little bird song in the distance. It seems like some sort of an older chapel with this preaching bench here, and if you can hear from the sounds, it's almost inviting. Don't think any of the enemies we've seen so far are in any condition to do any smithing. Oh, and here we find a bonfire. Let's just rest on it for a second, maybe jump a few levels. Actually, I'll just take one in strength. Yeah, that'll do for now. Just to get enough to use basic weapons, and then let's check out this area. It seems to be close, but there is a friend in there. Some goofy looking knight. Let's see what he's up to. Huh? That all?
Oh, forgive me. I was absorbed in thought. I am Siegmeyer of Katarina. Quite honestly, I've run flat up against a wall. Or a gate, I should say. The thing just won't budge. No matter how long I wait. And oh, have I waited. So, here I sit, in quite a pickle, weighing my options, so to speak.
A jolly fellow. Quite a friendly man.
Still closed. Still closed.
Perhaps we'll get there eventually. And allow poor old Siegmeyer to continue on his merry way. And there's a bonfire as we just saw, and again on the humanity counter in the top left we've racked up 2, mostly by killing enemies. I'll be reversing Halloween. Poof! There we go. Now we're human again. A little less a lot closer to going hollow and losing our sanity. Here sits a smithy. But if you go down there, oh boy, is there dangerous foe ahead. Let's have a chat with him.
Well, you must be a new arrival. I'm Andre of Astora. If you require smithing, then speak to me.
Sure. Let's see what he has to sell. Shards for upgrading, a fair amount of tools, and a crest. Grave of some old hero. And then of course basic weapons. I think I'll be buying the longsword. It was one of my favorite weapons on my more PvP oriented character. Repairing your equipment isn't really all too important in this game, although sometimes when the costs go up high you might want to get them checked. As you can see, the durability is 400 on my pants and I've lost only 5, so it's not a big deal at all. We don't have any shards to level up our weapon, which is a shame.
Most weapons and armor are mighty sturdy indeed, but every hunk of metal has its breaking point. If you notice durability running low, it's time to repair. You can ask a blacksmith like myself, or do it on your own with a grindstone.
Damn cursor.
The nice thing about weapons, they never betray you, so pay them a little respect, eh?
Hey. Sure.
Don't get your
No, I won't. Let's see if we can handle the longsword any good. And we'll finish up things in the upper area here. Oh, I do love the longsword. It's just such a handy weapon. Basically any weapon in the game is good enough to carry you through it if used properly. Some of course better than others, and some have, well, and Here we have a lot of summon signs, as I mentioned at the beginning of the episode, and as the Knight of Sunlight would have said, that there's cooperation to be had when you summon people, and I just might, but I most of the time don't. It's just a whole lot of people still playing this game, which is really nice to see. But now, let's get the attention of this guy here. Maybe hurl a fireball at him. He's very aggressive. He isn't all that tough. You can even cheese him with magic if you want. Oh yeah, and a thing about magic, it's probably the easiest way to play the game, so if you're really daunted by the difficulty, ugh, who would? Then just play a wizard of some sort. They go for healing, of course. Which means you can stagger them easy enough. And he drops us a single shard. What was he guarding? A Firekeeper soul. And there you see the spellcaster who messed with us. Bit of lore in here. Important figures, the Firekeepers. Basically slaves to their respective bonfires. Very handy weapon, but I do find that we're hitting for practically no damage at all. What does he drop? A shard, so we should be going for those upgrades soon. I'm going to equip a longer weapon for it. It's going to be really handy in here. There you see the wizard. He's taunting you up and down constantly. But if you rush in, you're in for a bad time. The blue aura around these hollows is basically indicates that they've under some magical effect. Could it be because of this caster here? Probably, yeah. They just buff the heck out of them. And I don't think with this amount of hit points I'll be willing to take any extra hits from them. Like there you see, eclipses for over half of our health. Be wary of the magic missiles, block or dodge of his swings, and they leave themselves fairly open after a swing, so just retaliate as you will. As you can see, a long wind-up, and ample time to deck them afterwards. Again, a fair amount of souls dropped by them and such, but let's just push onwards. See what this church is all about. A nice view to the area before, and soul items. Oh yeah, of course I've forgotten to show them, but yeah, they just give you souls, which is again the currency of the game. Another one of these Knights of Baldur. Strong attack, staggers them. Oh, and he tries to parry us. And a little bit of a secret here. Poor corpse. We can plunder the last of its humanity. And in here we find this cracked door. Of course invites us to crack it open. And oh, bars and a person behind.
Oh, still human, are you? Then I am in luck. Could you help me?
Potentially.
As you can see, I am stuck without recourse.
That's what the gel key was for. Let's give him a chat afterwards.
Thank you. Yes, sincerely. I am Knight Lautrec of Karim. I truly appreciate this. And I guarantee a reward. Only later.
Sure. Let's see what else he has to say for himself.
Yes, very sorry. Your reward will have to wait. I've just been freed. Allow me some time.
Anything else?
I am free. Now, I can get back to work.
Yeah, probably not the most trustworthy fellow, but it is worth freeing him, of course. And some bit of, like, you basically get some exposition about the lands and countries and kingdoms of the game from various NPCs as well as items, as we saw with the Baldur Knights and stuff. But yeah, that'll be our first rescued NPC, and that'll wrap up this episode pretty much. We'll just go and open up a shortcut that leads back to Firelink, which is very handy. This seems to be a bit of a crossroads, this parish here, because there's so many bonfires and shortcuts leading to it. Of course, that'll be because of it, the first smithy we've seen, so it'll be a fairly handy zone. Even later on in the game. A bit of an extra area if you're clever enough to drop down here. As you can see, we're behind Firelink now, and let's see if I can do this jump when the frames settle. There we go. Nope, I couldn't. So we bumbled down. But so what? Oh. Can maybe tackle a skeleton or two in here. No, still not really worth it to go in here. If you can keep them on this perpetual state of staggering and falling down and reassembling themselves, they become fairly trivial. And that's skeletons for you. And okay, we got a scimitar, which is fairly nice because I really do like the slashing weapons. But yeah, that'll do it for this episode. See you next time. Thanks for tuning in and stay human, friends. Bye!